So at that point, I think it was quite well known how deeply LTAT was in trouble. Even before all these things started to come to the surface, our contribution system was like 25 years old, still running on green screens.
As the country was getting ready to celebrate Hari Raya Aidilfitri, Lembaga Tabung Angkatan Tentera delivered its members an early gift in the form of a 5.25% dividend for 2024, the highest it has paid out in 7 years. For its CEO of 1 year, Mohammad Ashraf Radzi, it is validation of everything he has done thus far to bring the Armed Forces Fund back onto solid financial footing. It is also especially comforting in the light of another particular statistic, one that he is acutely aware of, namely that he is the fourth CEO that LTAT has had in the past 7 years. While the debacle that was the Littoral Combat Ship project continues to haunt the fund, for now he says LTAT is heading in the right direction. But there is still a lot of work to be done.
I think the toughest part is there's so many things to do, all at the same time, all becoming due, all needing attention. I think to a large extent, after the 5 plus 2 years transformation of LTAT itself, LTAT itself is in a decent state. I think when it comes to our financials, it's stable. We've managed to build up a healthy level of reserves. So when we considered to privatize Boston Holdings back in October, November 2022, I think the collective acknowledged by that time that the time has finally come to address the elephant in the room.
Bausted's privatization was just the tip of the restructuring iceberg. This came after a failed corporate exercise between Bausted Plantations and Kuala Lumpur Kepong and was subsequently followed up by LTAT and Bausted selling nearly 27% of their stake in Affin Bank, where the proceeds went to settling debts. LTAT's assets under management had grown from 9.3 billion in 2020 to 13.6 billion as at end 2024, while its reserves exceeded 1 billion ringgit. Mohammad Ashraf does acknowledge the difficulty in growing the portfolio size, as the size of Malaysia's armed forces consistently number around 120,000. As he explains it, each year roughly about 7,000 leave, who are then replaced by 7,000, meaning that all the withdrawals are supported by the inflows.
If you compare EPF, KWAP, even Tabung Haji, all of them are operating on a net positive cash inflow each month. Or even if not each month, each year for sure. Whereas our capital is flat, I need to sweat my assets all the time. So comparatively, that leaves me with almost zero space of patient investing. We cannot afford to have any part of our portfolio not yielding or yielding below the expected targets. So that's why initially, in the early years, when our biggest investments were not producing any yield, our dividend rates were at a low level.
For now, LTAT and Bausted are undertaking a new restructuring plan named Project Earth, which replaced a previous plan named Project Moonshot, in hopes that it will be its definitive blueprint.
I think over the past 6 months, through all the PAC sessions, there's a lot of news coming up from it, questions asked on Moonshot and under my predecessor, Dato' Nazim. What I've gone on to do is transition that into Project Earth, where I think I've grounded it in terms of the intent of what our real strategic businesses should be. And we believe that under our stable, our gem is Pamaniaga, despite its financial challenges. And the other one is plantations. Although, yes, there was the attempt to monetize it previously, but I think the guidance from the government is that, look, you've held on to land-based assets for a long time. Instead of taking the easy route of just selling it off, why don't you take care of it? From the point of Project Earth being agreed upon, not yet even approved at either board or minister or whatever, even among us when we look at it together. The message to all the business heads was very clear. There is no let off from the responsibility of all of you guys running your business as well. You need to understand the ecosystem better. You need to manage your unique risk components better. You need to go to ground, be hands-on, handhold your people, drive your people, tackle all the gaps in human capital, whether it's by virtue of not inadequate training or not enough of the right skill sets and whatnot. So this has been my consistent messaging across the group to everyone.